Welcome back to NewsOne Now, and 13 minutes after the hour. I want to go back to our panel. I raised this point before, and it speaks to me, a level of honesty and accountability as to whether or not African Americans who will vote at a higher rate than anybody else. And for people listening, do understand, black women voted at a higher rate in 2008 and 2012 than any other group in America. Black women, period. More than white men, white women, Hispanics, Asians, you name it. This to me is an example of where African Americans are going to have to stop being silent and impotent when various initiatives are put forth and white progressives are expecting black support, and then they don't come through in a convincing manner, and then expect us to go, well, we'll get to it later, you need to come along. No, my deal is, if I believe that mass incarceration is a fundamental issue, and then de Blasio does not have this contract with America, I'm not showing up today.
Exactly.
And I'll make it perfectly clear to him, I won't back any of this stuff. I think the angle always for white progressives is, well, y'all gonna back all the rest of this stuff, and we might get to that later, or we'll consider putting it in.
It's the back of the bus treatment once again. Yeah. Okay, let's get very real about this. We're being disrespected yet again by people who claim to be our friends when they're begging us for our votes. The reality is, if he really cared about producing a contract for America, it would have included in there. It would have included in there reflexively. He would have looked at things like the school-to-prison pipeline. He would have looked at things like making sure that police brutality is really examined and information is put in there that really addresses that. None of that is in here. It's completely disrespectful.
It is disrespectful, and like you said, it is. It's, again, we're being told, we can wait, we can get ours later. And what it's going to have to come down to is making it a deal breaker. It has to be, not we'll wait and you'll get it done, but it has to be you know what, we're not going to go this. We're going to run our own candidates. We're going to support the candidates who really are on board with the issues that we, care about.
The thing that, and the reason I'm pushing this, Jay, is because from a political standpoint, where we stand all across this country, there are going to be fundamental policy issues that we have to address on the city council level, county commissioners, the state level, and also on the federal level. And so here you have African Americans out there in Baltimore protesting. We saw it in Ferguson. And so now I'll bring up Ferguson for a perfect example. There's a Democratic governor in Missouri.
Yeah.
Jay Nixon, who the president praised for his reaction. So the question is Governor Jay Nixon going to get behind legislative changes to fix a lot of stuff that we saw that took place in Ferguson? The same thing in other places as well. You see in Cleveland, that's a Democratic mayor. Yep. Tamir Rice's case. I could go down the line. So I think what happens is, when we have this target of Republicans, all of a sudden it's, we can go all in, but it's a white Democrat. I'm not quite sure, how he would respond. And I'm saying, what's more important, the D or the issue?
Definitely the issue. I mean, so often, let's be honest. I mean, the African American vote is taken for granted. Look at the state of Maryland where I represent right now. We have a Republican governor, and we have more Democratic voters here. And the leading largest county for Democratic votes is Prince George's County.
Well, actually, Ben Keller says that Maryland is really the blackest state outside of Mississippi.
Yeah, and we are. But yet, we have a Republican governor right now. See, so what happens is, when you don't get out there and vote, and I think you were talking about earlier, if you don't get involved in the process, that's why there's no reason why Ferguson shouldn't have had more elected officials there in office there to deal with some of the issues.
Okay, but I got to ask you this here.
Sure.
We had our Baltimore special last week. Faraji Muhammad said there were 17 police accountability bills, something along, dealing with that and criminal justice that were put forth, not one passed. There were 17. Yeah. All those Democrats there. Yeah. 17, not one passed.
Yeah.
It's not about the D, it's about the issue.
We're a Democratic state, so I think you have to sit there and you have to say, well, it's not a matter of all Democrats are for this, because you have some Democrats that are tough on crime, some Democrats that are a little bit more lenient, some Democrats that are heavy law enforcement, some that are on the fence. I'm about the issue there. I think body camera is a nationwide trend. The federal government's starting to put money in for body cameras throughout the whole country. So you can talk about, hey, why doesn't everybody have body cameras? Well, do you want to take money from education and educating our kids to pay for more body cameras, or do you wait for a program to be instilled from the federal government, which will help ease the pain a little bit for state and local budgets?
Here's the thing. We don't have permanent friends. We shouldn't have permanent enemies. We should have permanent interests. And I don't care if a D precedes your name or an R precedes your name. You're not going to get my support unless you are right on the issues that are important to me. This is not right. This does not deserve our support, and he should be publicly called out on this.
Well, and I think what just beyond this issue is, like for instance, I think there's a clear reason why schools are not mentioned in his deal, because he's catching much hell there fighting over the issue of school choice and charters, even though you have thousands of parents, a number of them African American, who are saying this school over here sucks. I am not sending my kid here, but the mayor, he wants to stop the expansion of charter schools, and you got black parents who are saying this school sucks, this school over here is doing well, I want my kid to be able to go here. And again, it's one of those things there where you see white progressives who are very much against school choice, which I fundamentally believe in. And they're talking about, well, let's fix the education system. I'm going, okay, fine. When are you going to do that? Because if you're a black parent, you're not waiting on somebody else to. You're going, hold up. When your 8-year plan is done, my 4th grader will be graduating from high school.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I see eye to eye with you on that one. I always present this challenge to those people that say they don't like school choice. I say, well, you tell me, what do I tell a mother in my district whose neighborhood is infested by gangs, and she can't afford to send them to a private school because she doesn't have the income, because maybe that's why she lives where she lives, or kind of couple tough breaks, and yet she has to we're forcing her to send her kid to that school that's riddled with gangs, or could be riddled with drugs, things of that nature. Where's the alternative in terms of education? So it's not the most popular thing that I get out there for, but I believe in it wholeheartedly, and I think it's something where a lot of people have to realize, and you mentioned the white liberals compared to, there's African-American divide on this. Some are saying it's got to be public school all the way. Others are saying we want the choice program.
Guess what? Many of them saying white liberals, they kids ain't in public school.
Give it to me.
Now let's just cut to the chase. So I love the people who want to fight for public schools, but they kids don't go to public schools.
People who have choice afford to use the choice.
Exactly.
I mean, even if it's just buying your home in a place that specifically districts to the school that you want your child to go to.
Precisely. But again, though, I think what we have to do is make a decision whether or not we're going to keep playing this game of back in the D, or we're going to say, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm not going along with that crap. And you're going to have to speak to what our issues are if we're going to pay attention to you.